Oh my word. Yes, here's a full-time report from Auckland versus Canterbury as Auckland have won the Mitre 10 Cup by 40 points to 33. It is an amazing final. This is what's going to go down in the history books, to be honest, because 57 minutes in, we had Canterbury playing a better wet way of the rugby and looking like they had it all sewn up. So first half, anyway, let's go back and try and take a breather and understand what the hell's happened here. So in that first half, Canterbury had all the possession, had all of the territory, and managed to get themselves into a lead, got themselves 20 points with that kick on half time. But with a quick thinking of the Auckland midfielders, meant that they managed to tap penalty and get themselves over for 7 points. That's going to be important later on. Into the second half, and Canterbury got themselves a yellow card for a toe tackle, and you thought that's when Auckland really had to strike. They spent all their time doing scrums, 5 metres out. They eventually got over, but the key thing is eventually. And they also gave a penalty that time, so the score was 5-3, drawing the yellow card. Auckland really did not take advantage of that like they needed to, or like they should have done. They didn't need to, they won anyway, didn't they? But it looked at that point like Canterbury had the answers to cope with Auckland. It was raining pretty hard, and they were playing some better territory kicking rugby, and they got into the Auckland half, kicked 3 points to take them up to a 12-26 lead. And at that point, you thought that was it. It was all over. I mean, we're talking, it's a two-score lead. They're playing the better weather of the rugby, but then Auckland, something was said under those posts, and that's what I'm going to be asking during my post-match interview. What was said then? Because from then onwards, in that second half, Auckland absolutely dominated. They dominated the territory in possession, and they went down the field and they scored 2 tries to even things up at 26 all. They then went through 33 phases, but knocked the ball on just in front of Canterbury's post. The hooter went, and we had a draw on our hands, which meant extra time. 10 minutes each way was how it went. Canterbury came out, needed one of their players to do something special, and a kick return was what was needed, and that led to a try. Auckland, though, were not to be denied, and even things up again at half time with a try of their own, but bashing over. And then, so there it was. 33 each after 90 minutes of play. These two sides were being very difficult to separate, but Auckland won that last 10 minutes. They saw a chance down the blind side. Both sides had tried the blind side earlier in the day, but both times, all those times, they've been bundled into touch. This was about the only time that we actually saw a winger really get himself free down the blind side, yeah, he did. Got himself free, danced around a couple of players, managed to pass it back inside to the scrum half, who dived over, and then, so there we are, 96 minutes down, and Auckland have their first lead of the game, 40 points to 33. They had another, 93 minutes down. They had another kick at goal which missed, which would have sealed it, but in the end they didn't need that, and they held out. Yeah, so this was going to go down for one for the ages. Really couldn't see Auckland coming back. They looked like they were dead and buried after about 57 minutes, but something was said and they came back. This side has got grit, and they are well-deserved winners of the Mitre 10 Cup. Congratulations, Auckland. Commiserations, Canterbury. It has been a wonderful day. Over 20,000 people here at Eden Park. One of the biggest crowds they've had since the 90s, probably, for a NPC game. So, wonderful crowd who've had a wonderful time despite the weather, and a great result. Wonderful game. Amazing.
Oh, it's tough. You know, we'd probably done enough, just like Auckland had done enough to win it, but you know, they nailed Weeded, and yeah, it hurts. That's all good. We'll get over it and we'll move on and come back stronger next year.
What could you have changed? What could you have done differently to? Because obviously you had a good lead at half time. It seemed.
Yeah, oh, look, there were a number of things that probably didn't help us. but at the end of the day, if Auckland get a little bit of momentum up, they're tough to stop, and they did that at key times. They, we had a 14-point lead. They cut that to even. And we got ahead again. They cut that to even, and then one defensive error, and that hurt us. So look, I wouldn't do anything differently. The game panned out the way it did. Auckland just got the better of us in the end.
Mitch, was the team aware at 40-33 with a few minutes to play that you needed to score twice to take it?
Yeah. We'd gone through a lot of what-ifs during the week, and that was one of them. So we knew that once it went to extra time, that we had to be ahead at the end of that. So we were aware of it. Yeah.
Mitch, could you feel the momentum sort of shift just after half time?
Yeah, I think we had a lot of momentum going into half time. Like Joe said, we're in a really good place. Probably just struggled to get out of our own end effectively, and then got some pretty lethal boys that once they get in our 22, they're tough to stop, and I think they proved that tonight.
How can you, I know it's tough, just lost a bit, how can you sort of reflect on the season?
Oh look, I'm really proud. I'm a proud Canterburyan, born and bred there, and between myself and the coaching team, we put a group of guys together that half of them didn't know each other. So I'm really proud of the way the boys have connected and they've come together, and they've performed well. They were good enough to win a final. They just didn't get the right result on the scoreboard. So I couldn't be prouder.
But obviously, fantastic crowd today. Shows that the Mitre Cup is in rude health, and a wonderful exhibition that you guys put on today.
Yeah, it was great to see Eden Park with some fans in there, and they certainly added to the occasion. And, they were pretty vocal and cheering on both teams. And, it was great to see some red and black in there as well. So a great occasion. MPC Mitre 10 is it's still a special part of New Zealand rugby, and hopefully we can go from strength to strength and we get some crowd numbers up, and we keep giving young players an opportunity to show what they can do.
Talking to the Otago coach last night, he's going to be having curry nights to keep all his club players together during the off season. Any special tricks to keep all your club players involved as they go off to different places?
No, I'm going to probably tell them to go away and have a break. We've got a fair few that have had a big super, big year with super as well. So I think it's important that they get away from rugby, they switch off, have a bit of a breather and relax, so that when they get into their next bit of rugby that they feel refreshed and good to go.
All right, and thinking that at the end of the game you had 2 players off with HIA, you only have 1 player come back off.
Yeah, look, there was potentially a little bit of a mix-up with the laws there. We had a front rower that needed to go off for an HIA, and because the scrums were uncontested, there was a bit of a mix-up, so we couldn't replace him as quick as we wanted to, but it didn't have a bearing on the outcome.
Is it good for rugby that Auckland is back to be strong, in your opinion?
Oh, I think it's good for rugby that the whole country is strong, and we need not just Auckland to continue to be strong, but obviously we've got to bounce back from this, recover and go again, but we need the rest of the country to keep working hard. Like I say, provincial rugby's a pretty special thing, and we need to keep it going, keep it moving forward.
So, on the plane tomorrow for your next assignment?
Yeah.
Quick.
But, to be honest, mate, win or lose, I'm really looking forward to connecting with our boys next door. It's obviously a tough pill to swallow, but mate, there's no other group I'd rather be a part of, and we'll move on to that in the morning. But obviously it's not the result we wanted, but we're still going to stick together, and it's what Canterbury men do.
Is that us, guys?
Thanks.
Yep.
Awesome, thanks guys.
We've got our family, so Skipper, this is your show, mate.
How's yours, mate?
This is your show.
So, it looked to me a big turning point was on 59 minutes. They took that lead with the penalty to be 12-26 up. But you guys, after that, you came out and really dominated after that. So what was said under the posts?
What was the score? 12-26.
12-26.
To them.
To them. just as they slot the last penalty, and it's your comeback started straight after that score.
No, I was just putting them down. We knew they were going to kick it back to us. We just had to play because we felt like we went into our shells a bit in the first half. We just needed to play. That's it. That was the message.
TJ, what was the message again at 80 minutes, then 90 minutes, and I suppose 100 minutes once you won it?
Same thing. Just don't go into your shells. We got here for a reason, and that's why I'm playing.
How deep did you have to dig to get through?
Yeah, we had to dig deep. Credit to Canterbury. They're a quality team, championship team, and they took us pretty deep. But I'm proud of the effort, proud of the belief, most importantly, and I'm just.
TJ, why didn't you drop in the last few minutes of the time?
No, that was the play. We just had we set up one more ruck, and then we were going to kick, but we just dropped the ball in that last ruck. So yeah, we were going to drop kick.
Alama, had you contemplated the prospect of extra time in the week leading up to this game? Had you thought about it at all?
I think we've had sessions during the season where it comes down to that sort of stuff. Normally it's about closing games, but I've never doubted the belief in this team. And as TJ mentioned, we went into our shells a little bit, which pissed me off a little bit because I said that we got here for a reason and I wanted us to back ourselves. But credit to the team. They picked themselves up and they really came out firing. And I just think this leader sitting next to me deserves a lot of credit for obviously tactically trusting the systems, but then also leading by example. When there were no forwards, he carried. There were no forwards to clean, he cleaned. We've been playing like that all year. And there were some key forwards also, leadership-wise, that helped us get the result.
Can you talk about the moments? I thought it was looking back at the turning point, 20-ish down, and TJ takes the quick tap, finds Tamua, quick ball, and you score, and you're almost back in the contest at that point.
Yeah, and I suppose that was the only moment in the first half where we actually showed what we could do. And we were struggling for possession, we were rushing things, we were getting isolated, they were beating us to the punch in pretty much every facet of the play in that first 20-25 minutes. But yeah, it took a captain to stand up and show the way, and I suppose that's what captains do. And it was just enough to actually get us in the game, momentum-wise as well, just for the scoreboard.
Were you proud of what the bench did, particularly towards the end of regulation, and then it looks as though you guys actually finished stronger of the two teams at the end of the second period of extra time. So the guys like Mike Sosini, Taleni Siu, Caleb Clark, these guys offered real impact for you.
And they've been doing it all year for us. We have a real self-belief in the squad system, not only just the squad here, the 23, but we've got up to 40 players that rotate through. Everyone vies for a spot. And from the Bees, from the Colts, getting that competition is really important. But yeah, in terms of today, there's one player that deserves a mention, and I do feel for him. Daniel Kirkpatrick didn't get an opportunity to get on. It's just the way the game went. But he's been a stalwart, and he's been a very good leader for us strategically. And it's a pity he didn't get on, but we'll make sure we celebrate with him today.
How much did you make the players aware of that at extra time that if the scores were level, you'd win, that you didn't need to?
Well, I think TJ touched on it a little bit. I knew if we didn't play any rugby in our own half, that the occasion would actually look after itself. And tactically, you've got to make sure that was right. And basically, less rucks, just get down there, back our D. We've been backing our D all year, and the mistake will come. And not only that, once we had the ball, because there was urgency now and beating them to the punch, the whole momentum actually just flowed our way. So I'm very proud of the boys. When the reserves came on, Leon Fukafuka controlling the tempo of the game, his passes when players are tired. Very important that we get that part right. But as I said, those players have done that all season. There's a lot of young players on the bench as well, and I hope they remember and learn from this moving forward.
TJ, last year you were a point away from relegation. You've seen some tough times with Auckland, so what is it like to be in one of the really good times?
Yeah, and that's just part of the journey. Last year obviously we struggled a bit, but each year is a new year, and each year presents different challenges. I'm just proud of credit to Alama and his coaching staff for setting the tone early on throughout the season, for creating that culture, hard yaka, hard work, and that's what it took this year to reach this goal. Because we always had the talent. There will always be talent in Auckland, but it's about working that talent. And this year we focus on hard yaka, which is working hard, doing the dirty work and not getting credit for it. And that's our 6-pack, that's our 4-pack, especially our type 5 who stood up today.
Yeah, and they claimed you a series of penalties, especially in that second half at the breakdown. So yeah, your type 5 delivered for you today. Yeah,
100%. And our scrum, credit to our scrums, our scrum coach. We were parked down there in their half in the second half at the start, and we just got it. We came out with points. So we just backed our scrum, backed our set piece, and we backed it all year.
Alama, you wanted to bring respect back to Auckland. I think you'll all agree you probably did that. Do you? I mean, it was a hell of a way to do it.
Yeah, and I think we just got to be careful that. Well, actually, I suppose we've been talking about respect for the last 2 weeks, and for me personally, getting this team to become, top of the table with 2 weeks to go, to me that was a respect for getting there. But these last 2 weeks, in terms of the semi-finals and the finals, for a team that hasn't played finals rugby for a long time, I was just immensely proud of how they've grown as men. Tactically, I'm very proud of how they've controlled games and how they've actually fought their way back. There's a lot of teams that probably would have broke under the pressure that scoreboard had, and it is Canterbury. But these boys didn't faze them. It didn't faze them, and they came out firing. And to claw your way back and to win an extra time in the way they won, for a lot of energy, and could probably go extra couple more minutes. They gave everything. And for me as a coach, that's all I wanted. Was the boys die for the jersey, and there was a lot of dead bodies there right at the end. So I'm very proud of them.
I know it didn't cost anything to get in today, but what was it like to see over 20,000 people there to watch Auckland play in a Mitchell game?
Well, it's easy for me. I'm in the box, but probably a question for TJ.
Yeah.
But
What did you think?
Yeah, probably the opposite from last year. But it was unreal. You could hear them. Every scrum, every good tackle, every counter ruck, you could hear them cheering us on, and the support's been unreal throughout this whole year. But the message from me to my boys is: doesn't matter who's in the crowd or how many people are in the crowd. The people we play for is each other, people in that change room, and our families. And we played like that today. But the crowd was unreal.
TJ, so you stepped into the role of captain this season. I know you've captained the side before, but how much do you feel you've grown as a leader, especially towards the sort of second half of the season?
Obviously, with Paddy being away and Blake being injured, for me, it was just about doing my job and doing it again and again and being consistent with it. I had a lot of help from my leaders, from my teammates. Akira does what Akira does. Sam Prattley, leading the scrums, and I get all the credit, but the credit goes to my teammates and especially my 4-pack. They were unreal this whole year, and we just topped it off today.
Still the humble leader, eh? Team humble.
Do you have anything particular to celebrate? Any particular party or something that you're going to organise?
Yeah, I don't know how many there will be, but we'll do it as we've done all year. We celebrate success, and obviously this is a big success for us. And we'll enjoy our time. Obviously we've got to pay credit to Canterbury, and so we'll do what we do all the time: present well and celebrate, and then obviously enjoy the summer. And I'm just immensely proud of these boys and watching them grow. To me, that's my currency of happiness anyway.
Alama, what is the job now going forward into the next season, in which to make sure that actually the team stay together, be humble, and thinking that this is not just a rival, but actually this is a point of beginning, or maybe few victories from the future? What do you need to do?
Well, I think I've done enough at the moment to realise what it takes to come and play for Auckland. If you want to come to Auckland, and you're from Auckland, you're more than welcome to come along. Put your name in the equation and do the hard yaka and make sure that you represent the jersey. At the end of the day, that's all that we can do. And I've got no doubt, probably questions for the players when they leave. What does it mean to play for Auckland? So there is very clear expectations, black and white. If you want to come and bleed for this jersey, you've got to make sure you fit in properly. But I'm just immensely proud of what we've done to date. It's a starting block for us in the future. It's a pity we're obviously we're finishing up, but you know, how can we sustain this? What do we do? What do we do with our non-professional players? What do we do with the club scene? What do we do with our competitions? You know, what do we do in the meantime while all these fellas getting high-paid jobs and all that, eh?
Yes.
We'll wait for them to come back in July and August.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thanks, gents.
Thanks so